Shalom and welcome to the 70 Facebooks of the Torah. I'm Jesse Olitsky, rabbinic intern at the Orangetown Jewish Center. And this week we're going to be learning Parshat Mishpatim, the Torah portion of Mishpatim together. Last week in Parshat Yitro, we received the Aseret HaDibrot, the Ten Commandments. And this week's Parsha is full of Mishpatim, full of rules, full of laws that we are to follow. There's really not a great narrative within this Parsha until the very end when Moses gathers Aaron's two sons, and 70 elders, and Moses ascends Har Sinai, ascends Mount Sinai. Most of the Parsha focuses on this list of rules. Some of them are related to each other, some of them have no relationship at all. And some of the rules focus on slavery, how we treat our slaves, which was very common in the time of the Bible, focus on sexual relations, Shabbat observance, and festival observance. Some focus on kashrut. Some focus on how we treat another and how we use that person's possessions. But there's one law that stands out for me in this week's Parsha. Most laws, if they're found in the Torah, clearly they're important. If one is found twice, it's important. I think if one is found twice in the same Parsha, the same exact law found twice in the same Parsha, then it's very significant. In chapter 22, verse 20 of the book of Shemot, of the book of Exodus, we're taught, "You shall not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt." The text says, "You shall not wrong a stranger, lo ton eh." You shouldn't be disrespectful. You shouldn't treat that person any differently just because they're a stranger, just because they're different from how we are. And yet, we're told why? Because we were once strangers in the land of Egypt. Because we know what it feels like to be a stranger, because we were there. Because we felt that way and nobody welcomed us. Nobody made us feel like this could be our home. This could be our community. And this is so significant because it's mentioned again only one chapter later. In chapter 23, verse 9, still in the book of Exodus. Verse 9 we read, "You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the feelings of the stranger, having yourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt." Lo tilchatz, we're taught. You shall not oppress the stranger. You shall not wrong the stranger. A chapter ago, here you shall not oppress the stranger, both dealing with making that stranger feel welcome. If you'd have to guess what law was mentioned the most in the Torah, maybe you think it has to do with Shabbat, it has to do with kashrut, it has to deal with prayer or worship. Maybe it has to do with marital relations. The law that's mentioned the most in the entire Torah has to do with welcoming the stranger. It's mentioned 36 times in our Torah. 36. We're taught to not wrong the stranger, to not oppress the stranger, to make the stranger feel welcome. How? How do we make the stranger feel welcome in our communities, in our own homes? How do we make the stranger feel welcome unlike we felt in the land of Egypt? We're commanded to do this because we were once slaves in the land of Egypt, and we know what it feels like to be in a foreign place. We know what it feels like to not belong, to not feel included. We're taught every year on Passover, we're commanded, "Bechol dor vador chayav adam lerot et atzmo ki ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim," that in every generation, an individual is obligated to see himself or herself as if we were taken out of the land of Egypt. We're obligated to see ourselves as if we were strangers, to remember what it was like to be strangers in a strange land, so that we can welcome those strangers into our community, those who feel like they don't belong, those who don't have a community for themselves can feel like they belong here. So how do we welcome strangers into our community? How do we welcome those who don't feel like they have a place to call home, a place to call community? How do we make our homes and our community a more welcoming place for them and for everyone.